Imagine this for a second. You wake up, you grab your coffee, check your phone, and there it is.
Let me guess. A bill.
Yeah, exactly. An unexpected $400 expense just, drops right into your lap.
Oh, man.
Right. And for some people, sure, that's just an annoyance. You pay it and move on. But for a staggering 1/3 of adults in the U.S., a sudden $400 hit is, it's enough to force them into a severe financial bind.
Yeah, it completely derails their month.
Exactly. Now, let's raise the stakes a bit. Imagine that expense isn't for something you can just put off. You walk out to your driveway, and your car's tires are completely shot.
Like bald, unsafe.
Bald, unsafe, maybe one is totally flat, and you need that car to get to work to, keep your job, but you just don't have the cash to fix it right now. How do you pay for it?
It's a full-blown crisis for the consumer.
It really is. But for a savvy franchise investor, it actually represents a massive, largely unaddressed market. So today we're doing a deep dive into the numbers behind RNR Tire Express. Because this is a franchise that turned that exact consumer pain point into an automotive retail model that's generating average store sales of over $1.8 million.
Which is a huge number. And, the foundation of any strong franchise investment really rests on finding an underserved demographic.
Totally.
When institutional money or multi-unit developers evaluate a new concept, they are ruthlessly filtering for what we call a competitive moat.
Right. They want protection.
Exactly. They want to know that if they sink capital into a territory, some bigger player can't just, move in across the street and wipe them out.
Like a massive discount chain.
Yeah. And the moat we are looking at today, it isn't built on proprietary technology or some trendy new product. It is built entirely on a payment structure.
A payment structure.
Yeah, one that grants access to an essential everyday product for a demographic that the traditional financial system essentially just ignores.
And it's interesting because if you just drive past an R&R Tire Express, it really just looks like a standard high-quality automotive shop.
It really does. It's not some, dingy garage.
No, the bays are clean, the branding is really sharp, you see all the top brand tires, custom wheels, and the full menu of maintenance services.
Right, professional installations, alignments.
Wheel balancing, flat tire repair, rotations, nitrogen fills. They even do caliper painting for customers who want that customized look.
Yeah, it's a premium retail experience.
It is. So on the surface, the physical product is rubber, metal, and labor. But when you really start looking at the unit economics, the actual product driving the revenue model is financial flexibility.
That's a great way to put it.
Right.
The physical tire is really just the medium.
Right.
The real transaction happening in that storefront is about access. We're talking about a rent-to-own or lease-purchase payment structure.
Okay, unpack that a bit.
Well, a customer can walk in and choose to buy the tires outright today with cash, just like any other shop.
Sure.
But the defining feature of this business, the real secret sauce, is the option to set up weekly, bi-weekly, or monthly payment schedules.
And no credit needed, right.
Exactly. No credit needed, and everyone is approved.
See, that structural difference completely changes the entire customer relationship.
It really is.
We are talking about providing what is essentially a financial bridge for road safety. Because getting to work safely shouldn't be some luxury reserved only for people who have an extra $1,000 just sitting in their checking account.
Absolutely.
This model allows a customer to get the critical equipment they need immediately to keep their life functioning. And they do it without taking on, high-interest predatory debt.
Which is huge.
And when you look at the macroeconomic data, the scale of this demographic is just massive.
Oh, it's staggering. There are roughly 118.8 million households in the United States.
Okay.
25% of those households fall into the category of being unbanked or underbanked.
Wow. Wait, a quarter of the country.
A quarter of the entire country. And traditional financial institutions, standard retail credit cards, they are simply not designed to serve them. So this franchise is targeting a highly specific, fundamentally misunderstood niche.
Who exactly are we talking about here?
We're talking about middle-income, blue-collar workers, or maybe early career, white-collar professionals.
Okay, some working people.
Exactly. These are people who have steady jobs. They have to in order to own and operate a vehicle.
Right. You need a car to get to the job.
But they might have a thin credit file, or they just lack the immediate liquid cash to drop $1,000 on a set of premium tires.
Gotcha. So they have cash flow.
Yes, they have cash flow, they just don't have lump sums.
Okay, but let me push back on this for a second. If I'm looking at opening one of these as an investor, my immediate fear is that massive discount tire chain down the street.
Of course.
You know the ones with a national $1 million advertising budget? If you are selling the exact same premium tire brands, how in the world do you compete with that kind of footprint on a local level?
It's the logical question, right?
Yeah.
You'd think a local franchisee would just be crushed by those big box stores in a race to the bottom on price.
Yeah, that would be my fear.
But here's the wild part. Over 85% of R&R customers utilize the lease purchase option.
85%.
Yeah. And because those traditional big box tire retailers are built entirely on a high velocity, cash, or prime credit transaction model.
Right. They want you in and out.
Exactly. They do not offer flexible, in-house, no credit needed payment schedules.
Oh, interesting.
Their corporate infrastructure just isn't designed to manage localized payment schedules or, underwrite that specific type of risk.
So they literally can't serve this customer.
Exactly. So the R&R franchisee isn't actually fighting the big box store for the same customer. They're operating on a completely different playing field.
So they aren't even really competitors.
Not for this demographic. The customer who needs a 6-month payment plan for their tires isn't cross-shopping at the discount chain because the discount chain simply won't serve them.
Wow, okay. That fundamentally reframes the whole competitive landscape. You aren't in a price war if you are literally the only one offering the required terms of engagement.
Precisely. You own that segment of the market.
Which naturally brings us to the bottom line because, solving a consumer problem is great and all, but a franchise has to make financial sense for the operator.
You're right. It'd have to be profitable.
And the unit economics here are what initially caught my eye. We mentioned earlier that average store sales are hitting around $1.85 million.
Yeah.
But the figure that really jumps off the profit and loss statement is the cost of goods sold. The COGS averages just 35%.
It's remarkably low.
It really is. In traditional retail, if you are holding physical inventory, your COGS often hovers around, 50%?
Usually, yeah. 50, sometimes even higher.
So how are they doing this? Keeping product costs that low in an automotive setting has to require some pretty unique mechanics.
It does. Think of it this way. If a standard retail shop buys a tire wholesale for $50 and sells it to a customer for $100 cash,
then their cost of goods sold is 50%.
Exactly. But in this model, if a customer puts that exact same tire on a payment plan that totals, let's say, $140 over 6 months.
Oh, I see where this is going.
The shop still only paid $50 to acquire the tire.
Right.
Now, that same physical tire represents just 35% of the revenue. The product didn't magically get cheaper to manufacture. The financing model itself diluted the cost relative to the gross revenue.
That is brilliant. The lease purchase agreement naturally yields a higher total revenue over the life of the term compared to just a single discounted cash transaction.
Exactly. The financing structure inherently suppresses the COGS percentage.
And then you pair that with the maintenance services, right?
Yes, that's the other side of the equation.
Because selling a tire involves a physical product, but selling a wheel alignment or a flat tire repair, you're essentially just selling skilled labor and expertise.
Yep. Those service bays carry incredibly high margins.
Because there's practically zero physical inventory attached to the transaction.
Exactly. You combine the diluted COGS from the lease agreements with that high-margin service revenue, and it just pulls the overall store profitability up significantly.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense.
And you also have to factor in the supply chain leverage here.
Like their purchasing power.
Yeah. A standalone independent auto shop is pretty much at the mercy of whatever pricing their local distributor dictates.
They have no leverage.
None. But when you are operating within a franchise network that's approaching 200 locations nationwide, you have massive purchasing power.
So they're buying direct.
Exactly. The brand is negotiating tire costs directly with the manufacturers at a scale that independent operators simply can't access.
Wow.
So you take that combination diluted product cost through the payment structure, high margin service revenue, and national purchasing power, and it just flows straight down to the bottom line.
Which results in an average operating income of 14.6% of sales.
Which is huge.
If you are a multi-unit developer listening to this, that number is going to turn your head. Let's look at the quick service restaurant space, QSRs.
The classic franchise model.
Right. It's often the default category people gravitate toward when they want to build a franchise portfolio. But managing a QSR means managing perishable inventory.
Oh, yeah. And highly complex food supply chains.
A walk-in freezer goes down and you lose thousands. It requires constant monitoring, and the speed of service demands are just intense.
Very high stress.
So operating margins in the QSR space can often sit around at like 10% because of those inherent complexities.
Yeah, I mean, QSRs are fantastic high-velocity businesses, but they demand a very specific type of operational oversight, primarily because of the perishable nature of the goods.
Exactly.
A tire, on the other hand, does not spoil.
It doesn't melt if the power goes out.
It really doesn't. Inventory management in this automotive sector is highly predictable. Furthermore, the labor model is completely different.
Less high school kids on their first job?
Right. You are employing skilled technicians and professional sales staff, rather than managing the crazy high turnover you see in a fast-paced food environment.
That is such a key difference for an owner.
It really is. For a multi-unit investor looking to deploy capital, it offers a way to diversify a portfolio into an essential, non-perishable retail sector.
While still yielding those strong operating margins.
Exactly, and doing it without the specific logistical hurdles of the food industry.
And the resilience of the sector is a massive factor, too. I mean, if the economy tightens and consumer discretionary spending drops, people might cut back on eating out.
Sure, you skip the drive-thru.
But they cannot put off replacing a blown tire if they still have to commute to work. It is an absolute non-negotiable expense.
It's practically utility-level essential.
So with operating margins hovering near 15% in a recession-resistant industry, it's pretty obvious why developers want in.
Oh, absolutely.
But seeing those numbers and actually getting the keys to a territory are two very different things.
Very different.
The franchisor is fiercely protective of those margins, which is why the financial gates to enter the system are, quite frankly, pretty high.
Yeah, they don't let just anyone in. The initial investment to open a location ranges from $610,297 up to $1,547,075.
Okay, so up to $1.5 million?
Right. And to even be considered as a candidate, an investor must demonstrate a minimum net worth of $2 million.
$2 million net worth.
Alongside $500,000 to $1 million in liquid cash available.
Okay, see, if you're looking at that $2 million net worth requirement, your first thought is probably, why limit the pool of buyers so drastically?
It sounds counterintuitive, right?
It does, because this absolutely rules out the casual investor looking for, like, a weekend side hustle. It requires serious capital.
It does, but that barrier to entry is a deliberate feature of the system. It's not a bug. Well, if the capital requirements were low, the market could quickly become saturated with under-resourced operators.
People who are just scraping by.
Right, and those are the operators who might struggle to weather economic shifts or maintain the really high brand standard.
Ah, I see.
By enforcing strict financial gates, the franchisor practically guarantees that their partners are heavily capitalized from day one.
They aren't going to panic if there's a slow month.
Exactly. They are actively targeting corporate professionals who have spent careers managing complex P&Ls, as well as existing multi-unit franchise owners who already understand how to scale a footprint.
So they want investors who are looking for a semi-absentee model.
Very much so.
The ideal franchise here isn't the person turning the wrenches in the service bay.
No, not at all.
It's the person managing the localized marketing, recruiting those elite store managers, and analyzing the metrics. You are essentially managing the managers.
Right. It's a CEO role, not a technician role.
And as an owner, knowing that the franchisee in the territory next to yours had to clear those same massive financial hurdles, I imagine that gives you a lot of confidence that the brand's reputation won't be compromised by some underfunded operator cutting corners.
It protects the integrity of the entire network. You know your neighbor is just as invested as you are.
That makes total sense.
And just to touch on the ongoing relationship, it's structured around a 5% royalty, operating on a standard 10-year renewable term.
Okay, standard franchise terms.
Yeah. And uniquely, they also offer a $15,000 discount on the franchise fee for veterans.
Ooh, that's a nice touch.
It is, and it really highlights the specific type of disciplined, systems-oriented leadership they want, driving their store-level culture.
Absolutely. Now, a strong financial model on paper is one thing, but longevity is what actually proves it works in the real world.
Definitely.
And this concept has been franchising since 2003.
Which is a long time in the franchise world.
Right. That means the system didn't just pop up during a strong economic run. They navigated the complete fallout of the 2008 financial crisis.
Yep.
They adapted to the extreme global supply chain disruptions we've seen over the past few years. And through all of it, they continue to scale.
Surviving multiple macroeconomic downturns
Yeah.
is really the ultimate stress test for any business model.
It proves the concept is durable.
Exactly. They now have nearly 200 units operating nationwide, and they are supported by a dedicated 28-person headquarters team.
That's a solid support structure.
It is. That corporate infrastructure means franchisees aren't just out on an island. They have dedicated resources for training, national marketing, and, like we talked about, supply chain management.
Right.
And the industries clearly recognize this stability. They awarded them the #1 rank in the tire and wheel category by Entrepreneur magazine in both 2021 and 2022.
Which is a massive validation. Looking at all this, it really forces a fundamental shift in how we view opportunity in the franchise space.
How do you mean?
Well, true generational wealth doesn't always come from chasing the flashiest new technology or, the trendy boutique fitness fad or the newest food craze.
Oh, absolutely not.
Often it comes from identifying a completely unsexy, fundamentally essential industry-like tires and alignments and applying a highly unique financial mechanism to serve a massive demographic that the rest of the market has simply overlooked.
That is exactly right. Unsexy businesses often make the most sense on a spreadsheet.
For sure.
And, as you evaluate your next move in franchising, take a close look at the local economy functioning around you.
Yeah, pay attention to how things actually work.
Think back to that $400 emergency we started with today.
The flat tire.
Right. Ask yourself what other essential, absolute daily needs are currently inaccessible to the underbanked population.
That is a great question.
And more importantly, what innovative business models are out there, quietly poised to bridge that gap and capture that unserved market share.
It's a question that completely changes how you look at the businesses driving your community.